First off, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us. Monique and I are thrilled to talk to you about the Ameren Bright Return program. And Monique, hello and welcome. So great to see you as always.
Definitely, and nice to see you as well. This is
Um,
exciting. Looking forward to the conversation today.
Absolutely. Well, to get us started, before we dive into the program itself, I'd love it if you could start out talking a little bit about yourself, your background, and your role at Ameren.
Sounds good. I've spent the majority of my career in the workforce development space. For over a decade prior to joining Ameren, I was in the nonprofit arena and have been with Ameren for about a year and a half. Here at Ameren, I oversee our mid career pipeline programs, including Bright Return. So, this space is reserved for individuals who do have progressive work experience, not like your interns or co ops or stuff like that, but folks who actually have meaningful progressive work experience and are looking to rejoin the workforce. So, I am heavily involved, as you know, in the work we do in that space here at Ameren. And again, just happy to be on the call and have an opportunity to share how this program can hopefully help shape the futures of some of your talent community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, I'm super grateful for all you do to support this program every day. So next, I'd love to hear if you want to share a bit about Ameren and its culture.
So, Ameren, of course, as I mentioned, the programs that I work with. Ameren, of course, just to start off, is a utility company for those who may not know. We are an electric utility company that services both Missouri and Illinois regions. We did tap in a little bit into the gas sector over on the Illinois side. So there are some folks in our company who do actually work to provide gas service. Um, Ameren has been around after a merger, I would say, for many, many years, over 100 years at this point. And culturally, we keep customers at the forefront of all of the work we do in every segment of the organization. I too am an Ameren customer. We are a regulated monopoly, so we don't have the pleasure of some other areas of the country where you get to choose who you want to have your electric company, who you want to receive your electric from. A lot of folks ask, do you get a discount because you work at Ameren? I wish the answer was yes, but we don't. But because of the fact that all of us employees, which we call coworkers at Ameren, are also customers, we understand the importance of putting customers at the forefront of every single thing. And by customers, I mean customer affordability at the forefront of all the work that we do in this company. Um, from your HR folks like me to your linemen that are out ensuring that the lights stay on.
Awesome.
Have tons of sustainability efforts. A lot of folks, when you hear electricity, you think of your coal plants and things like that. But Ameren, we own the Lake of the Ozarks. We have hydro plants. We have wind farms. We have solar, farms. So we understand that in order to have a sustainable future, that we kind of got to step outside of what we've been accustomed to and look into some of those means of being, friendlier to our environment and having that bit of stewardship that the community really appreciates.
Love that. Thank you so much, Monique, for sharing. And, just from what I've heard from returners, it is such a great place for returners.
Yeah,
They've been embraced, they've been accepted, so
yeah.
and felt as if they belong. So thank you so much, and just reinforcing what we hear from our returners as well.
Thank you.
Uh, So next, talk a little bit about people with career breaks. First of all, are you getting background noise with me?
None
No.
whatsoever.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I hear a little of an echo, so I'm just gonna keep going then as long
Okay.
as you don't. Um, people with career breaks re-entering, it can be extremely challenging. It can feel impossible to, re-enter the workforce. Why is Ameren different in wanting to hire people with career breaks?
So you are absolutely correct, Amanda. This can be quite a daunting experience for individuals that are, have taken a break from work, whether it's been a couple years or a decade or more. To take that step to even, put yourself out there and start applying for roles and getting your foot back in the door in the workforce. The joy about being at Ameren is that we understand and accept the value that this population brings to companies like Ameren and beyond. Just because you've been out of work doesn't mean that you've forgotten everything that you know, that your skills are all down the drain, and all those types of things. Um, and we realize that and we recognize that. So, rather than to shun this population away, we think it's important to embrace those differences and those life experiences that may have led to that career break, and utilize those as a way to continue to grow that individual and help them to help us be a better company.
I love that. And as someone with a career break myself, I can very much appreciate the value that, I've been able to bring as I've re-entered, and even new skills that I developed while on
Yeah.
this career break.
Okay.
Awesome. So you talked a lot about value returners bring. Anything else you wanted to add with that?
So, skill sets, are of course, one of the main things that stick out, and when you think about value, but there are so many other traits that come along with a returner that we think also add value outside of those hardcore, skills that you may just see by looking at a resume. Um, Returners are very optimistic, eager, wanting to learn more, do more, um, you know, being in a unique space of, returning to the workforce. I think the energy that this group brings helps to, maybe reinvigorate those of us who've been, spinning the wheels at a job, and forgotten about how great it feels to be in that point where you're new and fresh and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and excited to be where you are. um, I've seen that excitement translate to other employees that may not have been returners, and it's just it's an exciting experience. From my perspective, I don't. While I provide oversight for the program itself, I am not a hiring leader that works day to day with these individuals. But I do get broader insight into what it is that they do on a daily basis, and I hear from both the leaders and returners how it's just such, a refreshing experience. That's really what it boils down to for both parties.
Absolutely. And just gonna I know we're gonna talk about this after, but we have one of our returners, Sonia, that we'll get to hear from later. So even
Yeah.
firsthand from her experience, what all of this was like. So thank you, Monique, so much for sharing that.
And
Um,
Sonia's great. You guys are going to love hearing from her. She's so fun.
yes, and just again, a perfect relatable experience of
Yeah.
re-entering. Um, so next I want to ask a little bit, we talked about the value returners make. And so this is our second partnership, Monique, between
Yeah.
reacHIRE and Ameren. I'm thrilled to be doing it again. I'm thrilled to be growing it. From your perspective, what are some of the benefits of working with an organization like reacHIRE?
So the main thing that sticks out, the first thing I started off with today was that Ameren is a utility company. We are not a talent, agency. We are not in the business of seeking individuals, to place them in jobs based on what their, personal backgrounds and experiences are. You guys are the experts, this is your lane, not only with Ameren, but with many other companies from across the I had to hit my screen blacked out. Let me just take a pause for a minute. It just timed out on me. I'm on my personal device, so I thought it shut off. I got a little nervous, so I'll back up. reacHIRE. The best thing about working with reacHIRE is just the fact that you have insight beyond what Ameren could ever have as it relates to the returner population, what their needs are. what their interests are, what skill sets would be most important to target for this group. And then another important fact is that you really work to help our team and our hiring leaders have a better understanding of what this group can bring to our company, and providing some great tools and resources to ensure that they have adjusted their lenses to look at these candidates, as returners, and not as someone who needs to check all the boxes as your traditional hire would, but someone who may need a bit of reskilling or upskilling to bring them where they need to be over the course of the 6 month cohort, and have an open mind to that. So without your help and support, I don't know if our leaders would be able to have as broad of an understanding of what it means to support a returner. You guys are the gurus. I told you that.
We are, but we have great partners like you who really work closely with us to,
Yeah.
kind of tag team and, support this program. So we're all united in working with the same mission every day. So, kudos to you too for that.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
We realize that every day. Thank you for that, Monique. So again, like I mentioned before, this is our second program together. They're going to hear later a bit from Sonia about her experience in the program, but can you talk a little bit to our audience today about what they might be able to expect if they were to embark on this journey and return to work at Ameren?
Right. So, Ameren has been in the returnship space since early 2020, right at the onset of the pandemic. So, that, of course, presented its unique set of challenges that we all kind of went through. Um, but what I would say is the best part about our returnship programs at Ameren are that it's really a comprehensive effort to ensure that the returner feels comfortable and prepared to move into a full-time role. you know we understand that while your leader may be taking you through this 6 month test run, the returner is doing just the same. you know is this the right time for me to get back into work? Can I adjust the other happenings in my life, to ensure I can make it work? Um, um, you know, is this the right company for me? And so Ameren recognizes that it's a two-way street. And so we definitely like to put our best foot forward during the 6 month returnship. We have tons of development opportunities, guided learning opportunities. Our company boasts a ton of employee resource groups for every fit and kind that is out there. And a lot of the stuff that we do is tailored to the returnship space. There are other programs that we have, but not all of them would be best suited for an individual who would be considered a returner. So we try to really work our best to cater our programming, which is outside of your day-to-day work on your teams or your, in your role. We try to cater our programming um, to the needs and interests of this particular group. We're here to support you, through the returnship and beyond. Um, Ameren is really awesome at having a family-oriented environment. It's a large company, but it still has that really homey, family feel, which is tough to achieve, but they've managed to accomplish that. Um, Returners, in my past experience and conversations with these folks, and I'm sure Sonia will share some similar sentiments, you know, they definitely highlight the fact that they felt a sense of belonging, um, felt a part of a team, um, you know, even beyond the work that you're doing. How's your kids? Where's the dog? I don't hear him barking today. So a lot of folks are working virtually, so that's why I brought that one up. So it definitely goes beyond just the work that you do every day.
It's about being the human being, right?
Yeah.
It's being able to bring who you are as a human
Yeah.
to work as well. So I absolutely love that and have seen that in my experience as well in working with
Yeah.
Ameren. So Beautifully said. So thank you for highlighting a lot of the really great things that someone has to look forward to,
Yeah.
and the type of support they'll get in this program. And again, Sonia will go in more detail in that as well.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I have one last, thought to share with you.
Okay.
As we've worked over the months and year with these returners, and we've seen them at the end go through sort of their celebration ceremony. One thing we hear a lot is just what a life-changing
Yeah.
experience this is.
Yeah.
This is something they never thought they may ever get.
Yeah.
So, I know I get inspired and moved every time I hear it. I'd love to get your thoughts, when you hear that, knowing you are providing these types of life-changing opportunities to individuals.
I'm right there with you, Amanda. I mean, it is so it gives you that little, twinkle in your eye when you hear these great successes, and how um, these types of programs have made such a huge impact on the lives of the people that we serve. And this, technically, it's not much different than what I was, than the nonprofit arena, in that, you know, I'm advocating in my role for our returners. I am here to ensure that you have a successful experience that, hopefully leads to, you converting to a full-time role. So when I, sit through these graduations or hear these great successes, and thinking back to, when they started the program and how they were just like, you had to beat it out of them to get them to say anything. And now it's just like, oh my God, this was great. I mean, it is so rewarding. It makes you just, it's a great job to have, because you get to see, I mean, the impact is very blatant and very visible. And not everyone, in every job can have that type of, exposure to how the work they do directly impacts others or the company or whatever. This is a lot different. We get to see firsthand how the work that we do, you and me, Amanda, and the many, many conversations, planning and organizing, and, and with your recruitment team, we get to see the end result. And, it's exciting when we hear all those great things. And, of course, folks are excited about, the money that they make. We have very competitive salaries, but that it's so beyond that it's crazy. I mean, just the sense of confidence, um, just the sense of onus in your own career aspirations. Those are the things that when you see folks get excited and, start looking ahead, into their career futures, when they had kind of had all that was at a halt at some point. So, super rewarding.
Beautifully, beautifully said. And I know we'll dive more into what that life-changing experience is, from Sonia's perspective. And one thing I'll add, it's not about being perfect. It's not about every day being perfect. It's a journey. So it's an exciting,
And Ameren is here with you for the ride. So, yeah.
I love that. What a great way to end it.
Yeah.
And Monique, thank you so much. The authentic conversation and just being able to convey that to all of the people in attendance today. We really appreciate it. Monique, we're going to get you back on to one of these events. So don't you worry.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So we're going to have the expo booth open now for the next 10 minutes. So if you guys want to go ahead, you'll see it on the menu on the side. You'll see Expo open now. Go ahead, give that a visit. You'll be able to see an awesome video from Ameren, as well as all of our roles located at the bottom. And Candace, our recruiter, will be there to answer any questions, along with some of us. So I look forward to seeing you guys all there. And then at 12:35, or I'm sorry, 1:35, the times are throwing me off, or 12:35 your time, 1:35 my time. We will see you guys all in
please
the
come
next
back.
session.
Please
Yes.
come back at 12:35. Hear from the amazing Sonia and her real life experience going through it. I promise you it's going to be worth every minute.
And we will get better at our times.
Yeah, to all of you who are on the call right now, thank you and congratulations. This is the first step to your career future. Hearing conversations like this and helping to prepare yourself for what's next. So thank you for attending.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Welcome again, Sonia. I'm so thrilled to be here with you. Anytime I get to connect with, past returners is always just a treat in itself. So thank you for taking the time to be with me today.
Thank you, Amanda. It's really nice to be here. I really hope that I can help some of the people that are here today and answer some questions and ease some nerves. So
I'm sure you will, just talking about your story. So I guess before I get into kind of my first question, I'd love to just get a pulse check. How does it feel to be on this side of it when just a year ago you were in the shoes of many people here today with about to re-embark on that kind of return to work experience? How does it just feel to be here on the other side?
it feels great. I remember just how nervous I was, how anxious. I know how it can be. So it's nice to be here on the other side and just try to help
Yeah.
everyone. That's really what I'm looking forward to do.
I'm sure you will with this. All right. Well, again, thank you, Sonia, for being here. So just to get us started, can you talk a little bit about yourself, your background, and what your role is at Ameren?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a civil engineer. I have a master's degree in construction engineering and management. So before my break, I worked for about 7 years, mostly in project controls. And all of my experience was in my home country, which is the Dominican Republic. So my break actually started when I got married in 2014. I moved to the US, and at first I couldn't work because of, the visa that I had, and I wasn't allowed to work. So I just volunteered at the Alzheimer's Association. And I also was a Spanish tutor. And so after 2 years, I had my first kid. And when she was 6 months old is when I got my green card. So I was finally able to work, but I just decided I wanted to stay home with her. And so then I had my second child, and well, I was a full-time mom for 6 years. So my break was a little over 8 years total. And well, now here I am working at Ameren and as a project control scheduler, like you guys said. And I am very happy, really,
Oh,
really, truly
well,
happy.
I love that you call it, sometimes when people have different reasons why they're on breaks or may have different limitations with being able to work. But I just love, and I always encourage people on breaks, do the volunteer, can you do volunteering and things like that. So I love that you took that opportunity to do some volunteer work. And I'm sure you gained a lot of great skills
Yeah,
from doing that as
absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
All right. So now you have this career break. So can you talk a little bit about what motivated you to restart your, job search, restart your career, and what was that job search like for you?
Well, my oldest started kindergarten last August. And so she was away pretty much the whole day. And my youngest was in preschool in the mornings. So I had all this free time now that I didn't have for the past 6 years. And well, so my husband started pushing me to start looking for a job, to find something to do. And, we could use the extra income. And I was just so anxious and so scared. But I was like, okay, let me just see what's out there. So the intention originally was to get something part time. But well, it turns out that there are no part time jobs in civil engineering, apparently. So my husband was like, well, maybe you can get something full time and then negotiate your schedule, or maybe you can find something where you can work from home. So I updated my resume. I downloaded some applications and I started looking for jobs and applying. And well, I was so fortunate that my job search wasn't very long at all. I only applied to two positions, one with another company and then this one with Ameren. And I was interviewed for both and I ended up getting this one.
And am I glad you did? Um, so you mentioned that, you had the support and encouragement of your husband to take that step, but you had this fear kind of in your way. Can you just talk a little bit about like what you were afraid of? And I can relate very much to that feeling as well, and I'm sure others can, but can you talk a little bit about what those fears were?
Yeah, well, first of all, I had never worked in the US before. Second of all, I hadn't worked in 8 years. That's a very long time. So my confidence was not very high. And I just didn't know what to expect. My life and up until this point was just taking care of my kids
Mhm.
and my house. And so it was going to be this huge change, this like 180-degree change. I had to reorganize my entire life. What am I going to do with my kids? How am I going to do, like dinner and just have everything and have life for my kids just go on as normal as
Mhm.
possible. And I don't have any family here. We are both uh, from other countries. It's just the two of us here. So, it's not like we could depend on family members or friends to help us out. It was pretty much just the two of us. So
Mhm.
it was a lot.
It felt maybe overwhelming, but good
Absolutely.
good for you for taking that step anyway, because you never know unless you do it and give it a shot. So I've said this to you before, but I've gratitude for your husband for giving maybe that little nudge that you needed to bring you to us in this program. And I do see there's a question here to you, Sonia, of did you apply through the Bright Return program? And yes, she
Mhm.
did come in through the Bright Return program.
Yeah, I did.
Um, so, you mentioned that you applied for this role, at Ameren through the reacHIRE Bright Return program. What was that recruiting process like? Again, you hadn't been through interviews and for a while. What was
Yeah.
that like?
Well, the whole process took about like 3 to 4 weeks from the day that I scheduled the interview with reachHIRE and until I received an offer. So those weeks were very hard, the anxiety, the nerves, because like you said, I hadn't been in an interview and in a decade. That's a very long time. And so I had my first interview with reachHIRE. Um, and well, that was pretty relaxed, pretty laid back. It was very comfortable. It was pretty much just a conversation about my background and just how my skill set was a good fit for the role. And the next day, I heard that Ameren wanted to interview me. So I scheduled the interview with them for 2 weeks after that. So right after that, I received a video with you, Amanda, explaining the whole process, what to expect, how to prepare for the interview, which was going to be the behavioral interview. And how to answer using the STAR method and all of that. That video was actually very helpful.
And that I
And
will just say that video goes to anyone who is going in through a client interview.
yeah,
Yes. So I'm glad you found it helpful.
yes. And it was also very calming because that's just the way that you talk is so calming. That was the first time that I saw you and that I heard you. And I remember that feeling like, okay, it's
Oh.
going to be okay. And so then I started preparing. I looked for a ton of examples and sample questions on Google, and I answered them and just prepared some examples of experiences and situations that I went through. And you know, really, this wasn't easy because remember, I had to look back and remember things that happened 10 to 15 years prior. So this took a lot of time and a lot of thinking. But like I said, I had the help of my husband. He took the kids away for several times while I was doing this, so that was pretty helpful. And well, I think something that is very important to mention is that some of my examples included experiences um, while volunteering and while tutoring.
Mhm.
So I just want people to know that you don't have to feel like all of the experiences or all of the situations that you bring up in your interview, they don't have to be like related to the job you're seeking. I mean, it can be in anything. What they're really looking for is really just how you handle yourself and how you solve problems and how you adapt. So don't be scared to use those types of experiences. And well, anyway, I did the interview. It went pretty well. And I was obviously very nervous, but I had prepared, I practiced a lot, and I just did my best. And about a week after that, I got an offer. And they gave me, I think it was 24 hours to respond. And well, here I am.
Thank you for being really, I think you bring up a lot of great points or maybe fears that people have in thinking about that process. So thank you for really breaking some of that down and what that was like for you, the importance of being prepared, the idea of it doesn't, you can use volunteer type experiences in that. So thank you, Sonia. And also for being vulnerable and honest that it was scary and, uncertain, but that you had support as you were going through that process from, reachHIRE and your family and Ameren as you went through that. So thank you for providing that information. So speaking a little bit more about support, right? We talk a little bit about the support when you are going through the recruiting process. And then once you join the program, you receive a lot of support from both reachHIRE and Ameren. From a reachHIRE standpoint, we start out with reimmersion, what we call reimmersion week, which is a week of training and community building and confidence building. You come in a cohort with other individuals starting at Ameren. You have, we have monthly workshops. We have, obviously I, as the program manager, support you along the way. So you don't need to go in detail on all of those, but just in general, that support structure, how did that help you through this experience?
Well, first of all, the reimmersion week, I remember that very clearly, like it was yesterday. It was really nice because it helped me prepare for what was coming. We got many useful trainings, to just get you ready to return to work. We learned a little bit also about Ameren. But I remember specifically the Microsoft refresher. That was so useful because I hadn't used Microsoft in a very long time. And I had never used Office 365. I had never used Teams. It had been years since I used Excel, which I used to be very good at, but I'd forgotten a lot of it. So it was a very needed refresher. Well, like you said, all of this I did with my cohort, the reimmersion week and the whole program. So there were 3 of us from Ameren, and there was also, we were paired with another cohort from another company. And there were 2 of them. So there were in total 5 of us. That was for reimmersion week. And for some of the monthly workshops, we were together, the 5 of us as well. And it was really nice, to not feel alone, to know that you have other people going through the same things at the same time. And well, also, throughout the whole program was the program manager, who in my case was you. We would meet every month, and it was amazing knowing that you were always there, that I could just go to you with any questions or concerns or just to vent. That conversation with you every month was really nice. It was like a good pause to reflect and look back at what had happened that month, what I learned, what I could do going forward. You always had very good advice and words of encouragement. So there was a lot of support, absolutely. And I think that all of that support from you guys was very, very important.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. And on the other side too, Ameren, provides a wealth of support. And Monique talked a bit about, some of it. And we know Monique is very involved, providing support along the way. You also had, a manager, a mentor assigned to you. So I'd love to hear a little bit about what that was like and how those helped support you.
Yeah, absolutely. I got so much help from Ameren too, and so much support too. Uh, like you said, there was my manager. He was super supportive. He'd answer all of my questions, give me great feedback. And I got a mentor too. And well, he's still my mentor. And without him, I couldn't have gone through this. He helped me so much. We would be on a call for hours, and he would be walking me through everything, explaining how things are done, and teaching me how to use all the softwares and applications and all that. I was also very lucky to have two other bright returners in my team. They were but they did the bright return with some other
Yeah, like a previous year.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it was nice to be able to go to them with any questions, about the whole process and all that. And then, of course, there's Monique, who is like your counterpart in Ameren. And we'd have monthly calls with the cohort. Sometimes it was just me. And so she would answer all of our questions, talk us through next steps, what to expect, guide us through this whole process. And well, the main takeaway is that, throughout this whole process, I never felt alone. I had a lot of people supporting me. And there were people going through this at the same time as me. So I had a pretty big support system, and that was very comforting.
I love that. Again, so important when you're embarking on something like this. Thank you for sharing. And so I also know you didn't just receive support from both, Ameren, reacHIRE. Where else? I know other supports in your life were instrumental as well. What were those?
Of course, my husband. I already mentioned him several times. Without his help and his support, I never would have been able to do this. He actually even helped me, like get my resume ready and to help me prepare for the interviews. And then when I actually got the offer, we reorganized our whole life together. So I just want to say to everyone here, like, don't be afraid to ask for help. No one can do this alone. Don't put that pressure on yourself. You don't need to be perfect. No man is an island, right? So ask for help. If you have family members or friends, ask for help. If not, if you're like me and you only have your husband, well, just, ask for his help. Just don't feel like you have to do everything yourself, because that's just not possible.
I love that. And you said you don't need to be perfect.
Mhm.
And I know that was something we talked about a lot with you and other returners. It's not about being perfect. It's about being human and doing the best you can every single day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a couple minutes left. So I want to, close it out with, you've already given some great advice, but what other, anything that you didn't mention already about just you and your experience, or just other advice that you think would be helpful to people here today who were, like you were a year ago?
Well, something that I learned throughout this whole process was make mistakes. And I learned that because of Amanda. She's the one who taught me that. You told me go and make mistakes. And so I did. I felt pretty stupid sometimes, but I learned from them and I made it. So, just no one expects you to be perfect. No one expects you to have all the answers, to know everything. And that is another great thing about this program. Like, everyone is really understanding that of where you are, where you're coming from. They don't expect you to, be ready on day one and know everything and do everything perfectly. It's okay to make mistakes.
Right? Because that's how we learn and grow.
Yeah.
Without them, we don't learn and grow. So, absolutely. And if someone's considering the Bright Return program, what do you say?
By all means, go for it. You never know what can come out of it. And also, there's one more thing. Am I out of time?
No, you're
No,
good.
you are good. Go ahead.
One more thing that I wanted to say was just it's a two-way street. Just keep that in mind. It's not just Ameren testing you guys, it is also you testing Ameren, seeing if you like the work, if you like the company, the people. You do have a say in this. And at the end of the program, if you get an offer, you can still like say no, or you can negotiate, or, so I hope that maybe that can take some of the pressure off.
I love that, Sonia. I definitely, that it's a two-way street. I want you to like it just as much as they like you. So absolutely. So wonderful to talk to you as always, Sonia, and such wisdom shared today. So thank you.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda and Sonia. The relationship and just that conveying that sincerity and being able to just discuss this Ameren Bright Return program and all the success that comes with it. So I really thank you guys both for your time today. Thank you all for enjoying our event today. I will be sending an email out to everyone who was here today with just some of the resources, some of the links that we have. The expo booth will be open till the next 3 minutes. If you want to go give that a shot and see what we have, you can also scroll down right now, see some of the roles that we have open and available. And then as always, stay tuned because we are going to continue to do these events monthly. So we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Thank you all and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
You guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.